Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is SV Paquita. Come along every week as I get this island packet ready to hopefully someday cast off the lines for the last time. I come from a background of being a lifelong professional mariner, and I've had to make the adjustment from doing that to living life on the recreational side. We've just come back from Puerto Rico, and then we spent the summer up in the Gulf of Maine, and now we're going to take the ICW down to Florida and hopefully spend the winter in the Bahamas. So come along with us every week. I think you'll like it. I lost my pulpit seat. And we did have an awful rough crossing coming over here. I didn't even see that go. Yeah, it wasn't the first time. So here we are, Lake Sylvia. And as a fitting end to my time before going back to work, I thought I'd talk to you guys about a new idea I have. And, excuse me, I'm still kind of waking up a little bit. That's not true. I got up a long time ago. I just haven't been running around. Got the coffee going, run around, cleaned out the fridge, doing everything, getting ready to go back to work. Christalita's got to get on the airplane pretty soon. But anyway, the idea that I have is that I want to start a series. And it's an odd series, but everybody, all these sailing channels tell you how great sailing is. And I'm thinking that maybe I should start talking about the things I've learned in the 2 years of owning this amazing sailboat. For those of you that are just coming on board, Paquita is a 2002 420 island packet, 42 foot long, 30,000 pounds, full keel, and cutter rig. Anyway, in the 2 years that I've had the boat, many things have changed. Mostly my perspective, and most of it has been good, but there have been a lot of things that there's been a lot of things that have changed, and I mean, I've noticed as I've gone along. One thing that I've noticed quite a bit when meeting some of you guys at meetups and also talking to some of you guys in the comments, I'm fascinated. I had thought that only the saltiest of sailors would end up with island packets. And apparently that's not exactly true. I think island packets make salty sailors, but I think that I have met four different island packet owners just recently. Actually five now. Yeah. 2 here in Fort Lauderdale and 3 out in the Bahamas, that their island packet was basically their first boat. One of them had a boat that they had shortly before that, but they never really were doing like the overnight passage thing. Anyway, that's a big surprise to me. So I thought that maybe we should put together a series of the things that I have learned in the 2 years of ownership and what has changed. The things I wish I knew and the things I've figured out that have made things better since then. I'm not the only guy with an idea, but there are some things. I mean, let me just give you a couple ideas. When I was buying the boat, there were some things that I really thought I had to have. You know, that I was like, I'm not going to look at a boat that doesn't have this sort of stuff. One of them was a sugar scoop transom. I thought, why would I even look at a boat without one of those? I'm going to use it all the time. I'm in the water a lot. I need a sugar scoop transom. Well, the 420 barely has one, and because it's only got one helm, it's a walkthrough. I mean, it's not exactly a walkthrough. And you can see the ladders there. Here's the sugar scoop transom. The reality is, I found it to be much easier, safer, and better to load everybody on and off the dinghy right on the side over here. And you know, when we go swimming, we still come up through there. So a sugar scoop transom didn't turn out to be the thing that I thought I had to have that. Another thing were these silly little seats. And now everybody that comes sailing with me, everybody gets in them and they say how wonderful they are. But once you've been here for a while and you're sailing for a while, especially in my case, you get a really good view of solar panels when you're there. That's about all you get. I'm not saying they're bad. I wouldn't want to take them off. I just think that the idea that I had to have those, not that big a deal. Meaning that I don't find that I use it that often. But I thought those were interesting anyway. But today I want to talk to you about why cruising on a schedule sucks. And it really does suck. I had thought before I had a boat and before I was doing all this stuff that because of my schedule at the time I was working 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, that would be wonderful. And then eventually I went to Puerto Rico and have 3 weeks on and 3 weeks off now. Even better. Yeah, that's a lot of time. I got 6 months off a year when you add it all together. The problem is that I'm really missing the whole point of cruising. And you see the people that just sit and they don't have a destination. When they get tired of a place, they move on. If they don't get tired, they don't. And if they want to go and the weather's bad, it doesn't even have to be bad. The weather's not perfect. They just wait a couple days. Maybe wait a week. Those are all luxuries that somebody who's on a schedule cannot do. That's been a big surprise. I also think that some of us that are new to sailing or maybe have sailed, you know, around the, you know, done a little bit of coastal sailing, but not a lot of passages and that sort of thing. I think some of us, I don't think that I'm the only one that has been fooled by thinking that things were much easier done than they are. In other words, well, if the wind goes up this way, I'll be able to cover, you know, 80% of the compass, no matter which way the wind blows. And although you can make forward progress, it's less than desirable. For those people that are learning how to sail, all you seasoned sailors out there are going to roll your eyes at me. But I just feel so stupid about this. But I had no idea dead downwind would be as bad as it is. It was a big shock. It still is a big shock to me. And thanks to you guys, a lot of you guys have really taught me how to kind of tack backwards, where when the wind's right at 180 degrees, maybe I'll crank her over 20 degrees to one side and then maybe 20 degrees, you know, 40 degrees to the other side. And that seems to work much better. But the rolling and all that sort of stuff, that was a big surprise to me. I didn't know that. But having to be somewhere on a schedule, for an example, we had friends sail with us when we were over in the Bahamas. Chris and Christy from Texas, and we had the most wonderful time with them. But the whole time while we're all having cocktails and everything like that, somebody's going to be looking at the weather thinking we got to get back home pretty soon. And I'm looking at the weather and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, my window of opportunity is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They had a flight back to Texas out of Nassau on a Saturday. So I kept seeing this window where it was going to be Sunday afternoon, was going to get really nasty in the Gulf Stream. And then the wind eventually come out of the west, where I'd be I'd have to deal with the Gulf Stream on the side of me and the wind blowing right on the nose, trying to get across. That was less than ideal. As the time progressed, and whether the system changed or the accuracy got better, it started moving that time up from Sunday afternoon to eventually 8 o'clock Sunday morning, and then eventually 5 o'clock Sunday morning. And when we left around 8 o'clock Saturday morning from Nassau. we found the west wind at probably around 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So all that moved up, and if I had left a day earlier, we would have had the most amazing crossing and everything would have been great. But we were on a schedule. We couldn't do that. We had friends. They would have to, I'd have to kick them out a day early, and they'd have to find a place to stay and all that sort of stuff. And then there's the also, you say, well, you could have waited. I did look into waiting a day because I only had a day left before our flights today. So I looked at that, and it looked like it wasn't going to be good for another 2 days. And by that time, our flights would have expired, and I have to be back at work, and Crystalita's got clients she has to deal with. So all of that, sailing on a schedule really sucks. Now granted, I get it. Sailing on a schedule that really sucks is still pretty awesome. I'm just saying that there's a better way to do all this, and I'm looking forward to that day when I won't be a slave to the clock anymore, or a slave to the calendar at any rate. So that's my first bitch. But I hope that this is a series that's something that you guys will like. I hope that you guys will think that this is something that's interests you. But I want to go through all the different things that this is what I thought, this is what actually happened. And we can even do this in mechanical stuff. I thought I would use the engine this much, but I ended up using it this much. I thought that boat ownership would cost me this much, but it cost me this much. I thought that electrical use, I would use this much and I'd need this much storage, or I would get this much from solar, all that sort of stuff. I can put those in this series. So hopefully this is something you find interesting. If not, or if you do, or if you don't, write in the comment, let me know. All right, thank you guys for watching. Be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the one. And if you haven't got to the Bahamas, totally worth it. Crossing the Gulf Stream, we've crossed it 4 times now, in this boat. And well, actually we've done a lot more, so we're going back and forth to Puerto Rico and all that, but going to the Bahamas, we've done that twice. So once over, once back, once over, once back, and we only had one bad trip, and that was us coming back. So don't let me talk you out of going to the Bahamas. Bahamas, oh my God, great, 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 great. All right, take care, you guys.